Hello, all, and welcome to the first broadcast for the GT3 Championship here on Sampsoid. I am your host, Torre, and right off the bat, we've already gone a minute or so into qualifying. So we're watching John Wiggle here, about to set his lap time. And I do want to start off by saying it's lovely to see so many guys here in chat. Having already gotten a head start on the messages. We're still waiting for the first lap times to come in. I believe we do have some fast purple sectors already being set up by some, but just so that we're ahead of things, obviously everyone has just completed the outlaps. You can see Tommy Vidal, one of the first on the list, is listed as a time. We joined him just at the end of Puon. And let's just make sure that we've got some lovely links going in the chat as well. We've got a bunch of commands here. Let's get this going on the Discord. But it is nice to see quite a few guys in here already. Thankfully, most of the guys that probably would be watching this are in the race. So hopefully we can give them a nice show to look back on. And hopefully they can put on a nice show for us to have here on the broadcast. So just seeing Tommy Vidal coming up to the line. We've got David Sampson at the same time. Sampsoid namesake coming up to the line here to set us off with a 217. Or I say 217, 216.6 up on the leaderboard. We've got the Pro-Ams as well. 217.5 by Hans Louis Makoski. Tried to do justice and I really failed. A bunch of other fast times coming in. Danny Gold with a 17.6. Just shy of the Pro-Am pole. Let's have a look up and down the field, as we do see a bunch of guys setting their second lap. So we might as well join the second on the field here. David looking to make up some grounds on the opening rounds. We've seen some pretty good racing in the Glen and Zandvoort. I fortunately was not able to get a broadcast going for those races. But third time's the charm here for round 3 of the championship. Nice line there, heading down to Puon. And something that you might not have seen is the chance for us to also get some alternative viewpoints in, though that will be shown off later on in the race. So we'll just stick with David here for a little bit. Tommy wanting to improve on his first lap, but as you can see from the deltas, he's not managed to have an improvement in the first sector, but he's managed to set a purple in his second. David responds with a purple in his third sector. So these guys are effectively neck and neck heading into the remaining of the qualifying session. And as always, I try to keep this informal. If anybody has any requests for anyone they wish to see, or indeed any particular fights or anything that might have missed my eye, feel free to just drop it in the chat. I try to keep an eye open on anything. And yeah, we've got quite a few commands available to people to use, least of which the telemetry provided by SDK. As we see, Tommy set a 16.4 compared to David's 16.4. Just slightly worse, but right up there, down to 1 decimal on the timing. We can see they're effectively neck and neck. On my end, I do have the extra decimal. But if you guys do want to see the timing page, there is the timing command you can use. And hopefully StreamerBot will share that with you guys. So that's available for you guys to give it a good look and see the kind of times that people are setting up and down the field. So let's grab someone outside of the top 10 as we do have a close fighting Pro-Am. We've got Hans, again, Loy Makowski, slightly further behind in the Merc, racing with ex-racer Violet, though sporting a Red Devil livery, so something perhaps lost in translation on my end, but either way, I've got just shy of 7 minutes left to the session. And it is kind of interesting to see how things ramp up as the session progresses. We do have nice clear skies here for what will be a 60-minute race. So bring up the weather widget, we can tell. Nice mid-afternoon time slot here at Spa-Francorchamps, which is no doubt the highlight track of the moment, given we've got the Spa-24 this upcoming weekend. Not too much of a gusting wind here, 3 kph. A little bit of cloud cover as well, but 39C. We've had worse in terms of track temps, so these guys will hopefully manage to make things work. Hans continuing on. We're failing to see many improvements from the guys in Pro, as you can see in the qualifying widgets. David, Tommy, Derek and Carsten coming up to the end of their laps. I don't think we're actually going to see any improvements from them. Hans in the meanwhile, 17.59, with pretty much having people hitting their theoretical limits, I suppose, so I guess we'll see how people manage to make use of the low fuel towards the end of the run. We've got Anders Utvik with going top of Pro-Am with fantastic middle sectors, so he's going to be very glad of that. A few guys heading off into the pits. Let's grab someone else whilst we're having a look around. There's just so many cars on track at the moment that really the only people coming up in my widgets are guys coming towards the end of the lap. So let's grab someone who's a little bit of a shining moment. We've seen Anders manage to set the fastest time in Pro-Am. I do apologize for the standings being in a slight mix-up with Am currently listed as the second class. And just teleporting to the pits. SDK at the moment only orders by the fastest time per class. So if an Am decides to mess with proceedings, so be it. Let's have a look around at someone that's actually on track. We've got Rich Warmingham, currently listed as a private driver, not assigned to a team. We do have a team championship on for all these rounds, so if you've got a teammate or someone that you're on speaking terms with, perhaps consider joining as a team. We've got a nice healthy team championship going, which thankfully is tracked in SDK, so I will be able to show the progress that teams have made so far. As we bring up the points tally at the moment. So you can see Sampsoid Esports, led by David and I believe Mark Custers, leading by a single point over Ra SimSports, who currently was enjoying a pole with Tommy Vedal, but they seem to have been going back and forth. So let's bring that widget back up as we've had Vedal go for a 63.5. Narrowly beating David, who's decided to go to the pits. So I think they've decided that that's it. So the track is emptying out rather fast. So let's see if we've got anybody out on track at the moment. We've got Animalson Ware trying to crack into the top 10. See how he manages to get on. Stays 6th place. So we're going to be going up and down the field at the moment trying to find someone on track, but I think we are pretty much done across most of the field. Jamie in bronze, 4th place at the moment. I do realize that I've had intervals up as opposed to the gaps, so we can kind of visualize them right at the end of the session, just so we can get a nice little ladder going. Jamie Logue driving under Wild Things Racing. I don't think his teammate is... Oh no, Danny Gold, who is currently second place in the AM class. Who's not had a fantastic middle sector, and he decides to bail, which is fair enough. And indulges us with an actual pull into the pits as opposed to a nice teleport. Looking up and down the field. Mick Bachmann with a minute 36. I don't think he's going to make this lap, so if he decides he wants to have a good go of it, just trying to learn a few more things before the grueling 60 minutes. He's free to give it a good go. But I think pretty much most of the standings is fixed. Effectively, the top 25, 24 overall are all in the pits. Robert Horn and Mick Bachmann, the only cars on track at the moment. Robert Van Horn just about finishing up, as you can see in the bottom left. Oh, and Bachmann has decided to have a nice view of the interior wall there. Robert Horn with a slight improvement there, from what I understand. Goes up to P13, and the lobby being held hostage at the moment. As we just wait for Mick to make use of the remaining time in the session. So if you are at all also interested in trying to get a view of proceedings in terms of the track action, there's also a map command that can be used at any time. If you want to see the action on track, if you want to see where the classes are in respect to each other, feel free to give that a look. You do have the option on the website to also edit exactly what you want to see. So, and that is it for qualifying. What is qualifying for a 60-minute race, I guess? So let's bring up the grid standings. We've got Tommy Vedal narrowly taking it from David in Pro. Currently, effectively, pole by only less than half a tenth. Ahead of Rich Warmingham, Sam Patrick, Derek Lynch, Adam Wilson-Ware, Steve Durose, Tommy Kaliokujala, Neil Wilson, and then we come up to the pole in Pro-Am. Hans Loimakowski by 7 tenths behind from Tommy Vidal. Just ahead of Alexander Ringmark, which thankfully means that our standings are in the correct order. So Alexander Ringmark taking the pole in bronze. And then going down the list, we do have Anders Utvik, giving a really good go towards the end of qualifying, 8 tenths down from overall pole. And we bring up the rest of the fields. We've got James Braid, Brom Racing, would assume that's Brom for Birmingham, represent. Robert Horn, just shy of a second down from pole. Henry Perala from racing under Sam Perry. Danny Gold, Wild Things Racing, taking the 18th overall, second in bronze. Simon Andre Livingston under RAS SimSport 2, not to be confused with RAS SimSport 1, that's currently in pole. Aaron Broderick, Flat Cap Racing 3, RAS SimSport 2 again, with another representative, John Wigo, behind his pro team. Nathan Harris, Jamie Logue, Morton Dale, Mick Bachmann, Martin McConan, an Estonian driver. And we go further down, Rick Binnesley, Timo Van, Peter Black, Yari Luomajoki, Julian Ming, Christopher Newby, Anthony Young, Ken Buchan, Curtis Krummel, Tony Halcia, Steve Ewing, and Ricky Burrows. Thinking, yes, that is indeed the rest of the field. So it's been a pretty hectic mix-up of the fields. Showing the different classes doesn't quite do it justice, so What I am able to do is to just show the entire standings. Settings permitting if I can. So if we bring up the overall, we can see right down to the bottom that effectively top 8 in the field are all pro, top 8, top 9. And then we have the Pro-Am and Am pole just sandwiching in the midst of a pro field before going down to the rest of the field. So you can see the field just snaking up behind the Porsche safety car. Currently focused on Rich Warmingham. So we'll just keep it under this overall view. So bring up the exact positions, irrespective of class, so we can get a nice idea of how things are going on. And it's going to be surely a very hectic race. I hope an enjoyable race. Not everyone can win, but we'll give it a good go. So we focus in on Tommy Vedal, ready to take us away. And he goes early. And we're green, green, green. As he gets a nice clean head start on David, who's getting pulled up alongside by Rich. Rich thinks better of it. We still have the rest of the field at the back of shot. Sam Patrick, Adam Wilson fighting very close behind. I'm going to stay at this point of the track. If there's any incidents, I will be going back towards any replays towards the end. Patrick's got a very good run. Don't want to go too early of a run, because we definitely don't want to get all sandwiched up before we can actually make use of the slipstream. Nice good action. We've got someone off in the background. Who's that? Oh, just missed them. I think that's Aaron Broderick. Oh, he's in the wall. And he's missing a rear wing. Very unfortunate to see. But we'll jump back to the front of the field and we'll bring up a replay. Anders Utvik lost a bunch of positions here. We saw him second in Pro-Am. On paper hasn't lost too much because he is still technically second overall. We've had a fight with David. Dave going down the order. David's gone down the order. What has happened? A bunch of gravel. There goes Steve DeRose. Neil Wilson just behind, wanting to make surely any advantage against David. He's gone down like a stone. McLaren action here. David trying to get his position back on Steve, who obliges. Neil further behind, wanting to also take advantage, but no do. Definitely want to have a look at that. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at Aaron Broderick later as well. Tommy, miles clear of everyone else. We've got a bit of a further fight further back. We've got the bronze pole sitter, Alexander Wingmark, currently being given the elbow by a bunch of pro drivers, but I don't think he's going to mind too much. No one's let go yet at Blanchimont, coming up to the bus stop. Wingmark just there in the Beta Frost livery car, coming out to the final corner to complete lap 1. Technically lap 1's already been completed by Tommy, who, no surprise, sets the fastest lap. And we've strung out a little bit here in the pack, so let's have a look at the bronze, or rather pro in the midst of bronze, Mick Bachmann, currently 26th, bottom of the standings there, 16 seconds back from the lead. In a gaggle of bronze drivers, we've got a few more cars going off. Surely these guys will eventually calm down to give me a chance to give everyone their due right on the replay and the broadcast. But Mick has not been able to make amends just yet. Let's bring up the gain and losses up and down the field. Mick's only lost one position, so at least quali pace would suggest he's round about where he is on pace. Big winners and losers. David obviously having lost 5 positions from the earlier off. Now I will bring up soon. Had a move further up the field. Rick Binnesley, the Pro-Am field, making good moves further up. Let's have a look at someone else that's been moving up. Henry Harala. Lovely mugshot there in the bottom left. One of what feels like half a grid of McLarens as someone else goes off right next to him. What's that? I think that might have been James Braid just behind. It was. Could have been worse. We've seen worse. But James Braid, one of the dedicated admins for the league. So dedicated that he's decided to give up a position or two. But he's still going. So just gonna stick with him here, as I think that's Vingmark. Deciding to just rub shoulder to shoulder there. Mark now going from attack to defense as we try to grab the overhead shot with the chopper cam. Robert Van Horn, decisive send, has to choke up a little bit to avoid James. Vingmark, wider line, gives him the drive right out of the corner. But we've had a few crashes further down again. Oh, it's all happening. This is Morton Dale, I think it was. Oh, and he's just spun. Okay, at least he's kept it safe. I'll go back to Vingmark. He's managed to eke out a little bit of a gap. I assumed Robert Van Horn would have been fighting him. Put the nail on the exit of Blanc. Eau Rouge. But it all seems to have played itself out. Alright. Oh, and I decided to cut right in the middle of something. Robert Van Horn going for a decisive move. I thought he might escape my broadcast camera, but alas. Just got the tail end of that. A little flash for either the camera or James ahead. But very good progress there in P13. Center of the standings right there. 12 seconds back from the leader. So, Linus Stern all the way through the field. So I think this is about as good as it's going to get in terms of bringing up some replays. So we've had a bunch of ops. The first off that I remember seeing from the start of the race was Broderick, but I don't think I've got his replay queued, so that's going to be very unfortunate to see. I lied. Let's have a look. Side by side on the corner there. And he just lost it. Might have had a little push there from whoever was behind. But that is very unfortunate to see. Don't know if we've got a different angle to show. Most likely the chopper cam will give us a good indication of how he lost it and whether he's had a little bit of a helping hand from behind. He's definitely already gone. Almost caught it. And just unfortunate, the sim deciding that yes, he did indeed lose his rear wing. And then the man of the hour, or not quite, just the rear letting go. It was a good catch, but at the pointy end of the field, that's all it takes. A lot of work left to do. And that was Steve DeRose taking the last of the free spots from David before David decided that that could not go unpunished. Decisive move again, straight to the apex. Not much for Steve to reply with. He's kept it going. So we had a few more crashes. This is Anthony Young. It's a bit further down the field. This is in bronze. So he's had a bit of a moment here. Oh, he's had a helping hand there. I'm trying to remember who that was. I think this was one of the XR racing guys. Or Racer Violet, Hans Lloyd Mikowski, I think it was. No, it was his teammate. Apologies. Might have been Tony Hasia, if I bring up the replay. Yes, it was. So I can see from the interior view, just choking up, and then just all of a sudden. Oof, he's going to feel quite aggrieved, especially with the rear getting hit there. Very unfortunate. And then further down, just more and more and more offs. Side by side from the bus stop, Bachman, Raven Creek Racing. Oh! I don't know who he... Oh! And he definitely should have held his brakes there. That was very unfortunate. I don't quite know who that was. Can we get another view perhaps? Oh, that's a bit late after that. And then a bit further down, we've had Morton Dale. So let's go to normal speed. So I think it's our teammates following each other, Morton. So we caught the tail end of this. So he's managed to, I believe, rejoin quite safely. We've had a few more offs. Robert Van Horn. We saw his move earlier. Let's see what happened here. So, was it a helping hand? It did look like it. It did look like it. I think that was from one of the raw SimSport cars. He's given his due penance and let him go. Lost a few positions. But I'm not sure if Rob Van Horn will look at it that way. And I think that was Wingmark that hit him. And then we've had Jamie, who followed a little bit. Oh, that was an overtake from Tony Harsey. Apologies. Jamie Logue, Wild Things Racing, coming up to the bus stop. Not quite turns. And oh, what was that? I think that was Peter Black, possibly. Take a rough guess at that. I don't think that was him. Julian Mink just sticking his nose in a little bit. Glad I'm not a steward. I'll leave that to them to decide. And we've caught up with, what was that? 11 minutes. Or 12 minutes of racing. That felt like a lifetime. But we're continuing on. And let's bring up the class field, as we're probably more used to actually get a good sense of where everyone is in terms of fighting. Got Robert Van Horn here with the top 3 in view. You can also bring up the gaps to have a good idea of just how far back the rest of the field is. Because we can see Robert Van Horn at the moment enjoying a near half-a-minute gap to the car for class behind. But the battle box gives us a nice idea of just the sort of trouble he is in. We've had a crash somewhere up the field. This is Curtis Kummel. So I believe this was coming out of the bus stop. Let's have a look at what happened there before we continue with our pointer there. Going out of Blanchimont, being given chase. I believe this is Christopher Newby. Oh, and he's gone way past the corner. Might have been taking the old config there before realizing the wall put a stop to that idea. All's well that ends well. I think he only ended up losing just 1 position. 10th in bronze. Or am rather. And if you're wondering why Am has decided to be listed again in 2nd, well, surprise, surprise, Am decided to be faster than the rest of the prime field. Look at the lap times that people are setting. We can see Sam Patrick at the moment fastest in pro. Very good lap times. Currently stuck behind Derek Lynch. Both privateer drivers, not assigned to any team just yet. Given a very good chase here. And let's see if I can try and do justice with the dual cam. So we do manage to have a very good view here. Let's bring up the dual unicam. So we've got Sam Patrick giving chase. We've got your mini view right here in the bottom right corner. Gives you a good idea of just how much Sam is pushing at the moment. Not quite setting fastest times as we were before. But staying close. Fantastic run down to Eau Rouge. These GT3s currently at the pinnacle, if you will, of closed cockpit racing at the moment. Obviously, we've got the hypercars, but these cars are just ubiquitous with motorsports at the moment, shy of something like Formula 1. Bread and butter of sim racing. Which, if you were to ask me, I'd rather race LMP2 if given the chance and choice, but there is no denying this class has given many people good racing. Some people might think otherwise, but it's undeniable that we keep coming back for more. Sam Patrick once more at the moment, currently in 4th overall, 4th in pro. Nothing much ado at the moment, so perhaps we can have another fight on the screen. Let's have a look. We've got a fight in, I believe, P12 in pro. So bring up the slightly bigger views here. So Sam Patrick still getting chased to Derek Lynch ahead. Also, we've got Karsten Havdal, one of the Ross SimSport cars, giving another Ross SimSport car a good run for their money. I believe that is Anders Utvik up ahead of him. So Karsten, the second car in the train at the bottom of your screen. So lots of action to pick from. We've got less outright crashes at the moment, but my events log at the moment is seeing a lot of people taking some inventive off-tracks. Julian Mink is listed as having gone off-track. We might get a replay of that later if we can. I'm still giving it a good go. Currently around half a second back. And then if we were to go back a little bit further, save the cameraman a little swivel there on Eau Rouge. Adam Wilson Ware, Type 2 Racing. Currently being given chase by Tommy Kalajala and David right at the back of shot there. Mark Custers, his teammate, all the way at the back, getting onto the cam straight. So, see how things manage to continue on. See, we've got a nice picture that I didn't want to rob you guys off, so let's bring that up on the screen. These guys deciding to give me a little break in the action, which allows me to rectify a few of the things you see on the broadcast. What position is Chris Newby in AM? Very good question. A better man might be able to answer that straight away, but let's have a look. Christopher Newby, yep. Right there in center shot. Well, we've had a few people jump to pits, so we'll try and see what happened there. I think that was Julian Mink again. But hopefully this answers your question there, Nico. Assuming it's Nico. Christopher Newey being chased by Steve Ewing. If anybody has any requests or anyone they wish to see, again, this is a community broadcast. By the community, for the community. So we'll have a see what caused Julian to teleport to the pits. So we've had a few off track. This is Julian Mink right up on there and decided to go straight on. I don't know if one of those long 8 kilometers plus Spa configs had a extension there that he decided to take, but wow, that was very violent. Meanwhile, we had a fight. So this was, we cut away from here earlier. So it's listed as having been an overtake, but I think this is just Tommy ahead just blinking. So David's going to have to keep that in mind as he tries to line up a move of sorts. Speaking of moves, I think most of the field has kind of strung out a little bit. So again, any requests people want to see? Alexander Wingmark, sloth in a old-time. I don't know what even is that. Well, AI car. I'm not even gonna try and guess what it is. So yeah, Alexander Wingmark in the Beta Frost car, 7 seconds back. Let's bring up the battle box to get an idea of exactly how far back he is. He's currently got a Pro-Am driver in Rick Binnesley. And he's got close company from Nathan Harris behind. So, unfortunately, doesn't have the comfort of wanting to focus on fighting for the win just yet. I think he can be pleased with only being 7 seconds out. 20 minutes, so we're a third of the race in. We've had a crash further back. This is Peter Black in the pits. What's happened to him? Let's try and bring up a nice camera angle here for you guys. So we're cutting to No Name Peter. Probably having to pull off slowly. Always had to go for some reason. Very unfortunate. Nico saying nice thanks. Yep, that's what I'm here for. Very unfortunate to see from Peter there. Lovely dogs. So he's decided to leave us at the moment. So what else do we have on track to actually cut to? Anders Utvik. Currently ahead of Karsten Hafdal. Teammates at the moment. Running respectively 2nd in Pro-Am and 12th in Pro. Incidentally, 12th and 13th overall on track. Utvik setting the fastest lap time in class at the moment with a 17.6, so very good pace for him. Let's see if we can bring up any other fights at the moment. We've got Steve DeRose elsewhere. I believe this is... who is that? That's James Braid slotting in. I think he left the pits, did he? No, he did not, so he's just gone a little bit slowly there. So I'm guessing was it serving a slowdown, probably. No one's having shown as having pitted, at least not for an incident, so. That's Krumel is showing for me as having left the pits, so. David also showing as having done some moves at the moment, but I think that's again just Tommy blinking in and out of existence. Let's have a look. These guys are probably going to go for an overtake just as I cut, but the show must go on. Derek Lynch still being given chase by Sam Patrick. These guys have been doing pretty much the exact same lap times, and I hope the details will show that as well. So I think that is legible there at the bottom of your screens. We've got the history for the last 4 laps. Within a 10th or so, Patrick seems to just catch him a little bit, and then deciding to just stay put. We've got a few guys in pit lane. Adam Wilson-Ware from Type 2 Racing, followed very closely behind by Tommy. So we can just stay with them a little bit. Again, this is a 60-minute race, so... Oh, and I believe he's just missed his pit box. Tommy will definitely lose some positions here. We've had more guys entering the pit, so can we pick up? Yeah, exactly. Dear Lord. That is that's a busy pit lane. I'm not even going to try and see who's in and who's not. Adam Wilson-Ware coming out of the pits. believe is that Jamie Logue in the Wild Things racing car going up ahead. Yari couldn't quite jump in the pit lane cycle. And then Tommy, we saw, he missed his pit box, now lost a position on track. So if I'm gonna have to be a betting man and guess what's been happening, I'm going to guess the leaders are going to try and eke out as much fuel as possible just to try and shorten this pit lane times, which I can bring up as well. You can see the pit lane time here. Tommy we can see with the 18.3 to an 18.2 from Adam. So again, this gap that you've seen develop ahead of him has been purely just from missing the pit box. I don't mean to harp on a man's mistakes, but alas, that's where we are. And if you look at the pit lane time, I think that probably shows the gap a little bit better. Yeah, 3 seconds loss. So the data's there. The data doesn't lie. Anders Utvik, let's cut to him. So the top 3 have not pitted in Pro-Am. So I think that's probably indicative of the sort of skill we can see that the leaders decided to eke out as much as possible. And to prove my point, over the crest, the man we've not seen since the start of the race, Tommy Vettel, Ross Simsport, Rich Wardingham, Derek Lynch, Sam Patrick, and David, all going into the pits at the same time. So, I believe is that Rich. Pretty much everyone just angling for the pit exit. Pretty much all of Pro Field is into the pits. I think the track map probably will show this best. Oh, and I believe that's Tommy Vettel just leaving immediately. It was very close there on the pit exit, so we'll stay with this gaggle right here. I'll bring up the battle box so we can kind of see what is happening again. So we saw that cargo pass. That was Anthony Young, blue flagged. So if I understood it correctly, I don't think these guys took tyres. We'll probably double check again. But I think, yeah, David's jumped about 2 positions. Very quick pit lane time, 42 seconds. So a clear winner on pit lane right there. So no name incident became big name wins in pit lane. Tommy Vettel lost considerable time in that pit cycle compared to David. But I think given the fact that that's the default 46 seconds for pretty much most of the Pro Field, that just seems to be the case. We've got Anthony Young shuffling to the back of the field. I think Derek Lynch probably lost out a little bit there. He might feel a little bit aggrieved, but traffic is traffic. If we can't handle it here for 60 minutes, then 24 hours might be a little bit difficult. So, what do we have up and down the field? Thibaut Van is showing as having had a yellow flag of sorts. I'm not sure if that was a genuine yellow or if that's just SDK throwing up garbage. Thibaut Van Ravenswij, hope I said that correctly. Raven Creek Racing, giving it a good go. Let's bring up, let's clear that up a little bit and look up and down the field for some intervals. So, if I do sound like I'm taking a lot of gaps in my commentary, then do beware that I'm looking at 2 separate SDK instances trying to give you all the actions at the same time. Kenny had to retire, got major cramp in my right leg. Yeah, mate. Very, very unfortunate, man. I've had those moments where I can think a few things that kind of take a person's immediate attention, like a real severe cramp. Very unfortunate, man. But a lot of rounds left to go. So we do hope to see you in some future races and hopefully some future broadcasts as well. So Steve currently giving Mark a good chase. Henry pulling up along the inside, thinking better of it further back. Hans, trying to fight off James. James being a little bit more decisive than what we saw. Very good move. Further back down the field, Karsten Havdal, or Karstein Havdal, the Norwegian. Ross Simsport leading second place Pro-Am Anders Utvik. So, I mean, yeah, sure, Karsten is probably racing his own race, but I don't think Anders will mind one bit. It's probably the kind of gap you love to have in Spa. If you can't quite go for a position, then if the car ahead is fast enough to stay out of your hair, but not that fast to rob you of a slipstream, then go for it. So some very good patient racing at the moment. We've had our pit cycle. Everyone has pit. I don't think I even need to check the data for that. So, see on the track map, Pro having pretty much eked out, well clear of the Pro-Ams. Hans Wojciechowski only just a little bit ahead. We saw that gap around 7 seconds earlier, so being just up the road is going to be a good comeuppance for Anders. As we cut to the Pro-Am leader just now. Starting lap 13. X-Racer Violet. Fantastic logo. Well, we've had a crash further back. Who's this? Rick Binnersley. This is probably one of those things where it's like it might have been on the screen, but so busy looking at a bunch of data that I might have actually just missed it myself. Oh, it is spun again. Almost just did it again. Let's see if he hopefully can rejoin nice and safely. He's going to have to make another 5-point turn. Decides against it. So the Pro-Am car, unfortunately, going from I was going to say back to worse, but he is up 6 positions from where he started, so he had a good go from it. We saw his spin coming out of the source. We're just going to cut to the first incident that brought him to my attention. Here we go. The Ford Mustang. Very unfortunate there, because you expect to be coming out of the corner a bit faster and then dropping on the power, so must have been just at the limit of adhesion there. If that was John Wiggle Larson that was going off ahead, and then we saw the following spin. No, apologies, that was John Wiggle Larson just there, exiting the shot of your top right. And he's just lost another position to Jamie Logue, so very unfortunate. But let's cut to the front of the field, because, yeah, it's all happening. Ferrari on McLaren action here. I would love to see some kind of Sam Cam make an appearance here on the broadcast at some point, because it is interesting to see how people deal with these kind of prolonged fights. We saw that for the most part the top of Pro did not change at any point during that opening stint. So it does take a bit of a different kind of driver just to be able to focus on doing your own pace. It is so interesting to see from having these different classes featured in this kind of championship, where you've got the pros going for very long, consistent stints, focusing on fuel saving and such, and then further down the field you kind of lose the luxury to think about that, having to focus more on just keeping on track, having good pace, doing the best that you can. Let's bring up Sam Patrick on the roll bar in the second cam. So we get rid of the pesky battle box. So we've got David exiting no name, Sam Patrick at the back of this 3-car train. I realized that we've missed the pass that got him ahead of Derek Lynch. But I think it was under the pit stop shuffle where it happened. So if anything else happens, then anything else happens. We've had a crash, and I think this was James Braid. So we'll bring up the dual mini view later as we take a chance to cut to James Braid, who's lost it outside of no name and teleports. So this might be what we saw happening to David earlier, but probably a little bit more violent. Oh, not even. It was before. Oh. And he decided to just... My condolences, because I'm assuming, if I'm going to have to guess what happened, he let off the brakes to get out of the way of the train of cars coming in, at the cost of his own loss, going straight into that barrier. What a shame. What a shame. What a shame. Always sucks to see a person having to exit the race. I'm not quite sure what the status is on fast repairs here, but Hans Loinkowski won't be thinking about that just yet. He's been given chase by Karsten Havdal, not for class position. His rival for that is a few cars back. So we've got Karsten giving chase, Danny Gold, Wild Things Racing up 5 positions from where he started. Lovely photo. And then the fight for Pro-Am, Anders Utvik. Lost about seconds is the last time we checked in on this. And then John Wiggle, who I'm assuming is coming up to Radion. Rounding out your Pro-Am podium, and then a good half minute back to P4 Pro-Am, Yari Luomajoki. So I hope I did that justice. Leading region. Probably in the kind of mindset to give it a good go, knowing that the podium is effectively cinched up, commentator's curse notwithstanding. And let's have a look at the lap times to get a sense of how exactly this is going on. So obviously currently at the moment we're comparing it to the Pro-Am driver ahead of him. But let's have a look at the Pro-Am for position. So ignoring lap 12, which was the pit stop shuffle from what I understand. Oh! Who was that? Was that Van Horn? I think it was. Just in the midst of my point. So what happened to him? I don't think he's got damage, so he's just recovering a little bit. A big mark of Beta Frost, though I think that might be a raw SimSport livery. And I can bring up what gave Van Horn the heebie-jeebies there. Exiting Lefagnier. Slow slide. Oh! Probably the gravel giving him a little bit of an issue there. His rear tyres must be cooked, but he managed to collect himself. That's good to see. Lost 2 positions in that sequence. James, yes, James. Oh, unlucky man. I made a guess that you ended up letting go of the brakes just to get out of the way, but whether that was intentional or not, you did manage to get out of the way of a lot of traffic there. So yeah, very unfortunate to see there. And I'm assuming if you're in here, then unfortunately you're not in the race anymore. So see how things managed to get on. Speaking of race, Hans still driving a good race at the moment. And if I bring up the overall standings, we can have a good idea of just how mixed up it is from Hans backwards, because we've got the top 10 in Pro as they are, and then Pro-Ams kind of dotted all over the place. So Hans, I think with the luxury of being 40 minutes into the race, can make that decision of, okay, we're going to keep doing our pace. Not going to worry about Carsten behind. Carsten has been there for quite a while. So this kind of unspoken truce of, I'll do my pace, you do your pace. Carsten can see his fight for position just past Hans. Steve DeRose and the McLaren exiting Stavelo. Exiting the camera shot just off left. And why don't we bring up the standings? Yeah, it's some bad damage to park out of the way. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's an honourable decision. It's a very honourable decision. It's probably argument's sake that sometimes doing the right thing is what gets you out of the race, but definitely it's something like a community race like this where you make that decision for the betterment of the race. I think it's highly commendable, so it's good to see. Pro-Am, we've got Paul Fanning leading in the championship, though he's not actually here in the race, if I understood it correctly. Yeah, so Paul Fanning is not actually in here. Wigo in third place on track at the moment, but second in the standings. And Hans Lloyd McCoskey currently 5th overall in Pro-Am, so stands to gain some good points here if he manages to keep it together for what's now under 20 minutes to go. We've had a crash, so let's bring up the replay if I can. Tony Hasia. So we were following his teammate, if I understood that correctly. Oh, just lost it there, and he's managed to keep it going. He had the same issue with Robert Van Horn as well. When you exit the gravel, can't quite get on that loud pedal too quickly. So he's lost a bunch of positions. Robert Van Horn going back and forth with Nathan Harris. Oof. So that was side by side for a good little while. Apologies. Oh, going back and forth there. Great move. Decisive move. Get pinched there a little bit. So who was that? So that's Robert Van Horn fighting. Is that Steve Ewing? It is. So Steve Ewing somehow managed to lose quite a few positions here, so I'm not sure what's happened to him. Oh, got caught up a bit. Robert Van Horn managed to keep his nose clean. So there he goes. So does that give... Who's that further behind? Is that Yari? Still going at it. Robert Van Horn going past. Oh, and there it is. Robert Van Horn has gone. Nathan Harris quietly waiting in the wings and has managed to make Steve's loss his gain. Very good racing there. Love to see that. I mean, Steve may feel a little bit of grief there, but hard but fair racing. So I don't think there's too much to complain about there. Really good fight. Really good fight. All right. So we'll catch back up with the overall fight. Leaders have spaced out a little bit from the pit stop shuffle that we had earlier. So we're on lap 19. Leaders are showing as having pitted lap 11. So let's bring up that pit lap for reference. So 11s, 10s, I think it kind of makes sense. Whoever didn't have an incident, but managed to kind of eke out the fuel, 11 laps, kind of makes sense. I think that's a very good fuel save in terms of making it work here at Spa. It's a very long track to save. I will not pretend to know the ins and outs of fuel saving before just noting it as being just taking it easy where you can, especially if you can make use of the very strong slipstream here. And a few moves for position. Don't think that's too much. So let's keep this shot of the leaders in the background. We're not going to have a direct fight for position at the moment. We can watch one boil over at some point, hopefully. Leaders all within about a tenth of a low 17. So David showed his hand. Very short pit lane time. Lap 11 for the first stint. So we're thinking lap 22. Lap 21. I'm assuming the pit window will open at some point. If it's not already open. So these guys don't have any traffic coming up of the sort. So as we bring up the track map, we can see, if you look at the bottom corner there, Bruxelles heading up to No Name. Tommy Vettel having not quite checked out, but he's kind of checked out. Leading this race, not had too much action of him. Clear track in front, very good pace as well. Try to bring up the lap times to David behind. David about a tenth of a second, if not just shy of that, slower a lap. This is the kind of fight where it's a death by 1,000 cuts, if you will. Eking out whatever advantage you can over the course of the race. And effectively no traffic from where he is right now at Blanchimont to the start-finish, which will be the P29 car of Tony Hassia. He's had that incident earlier that we saw. We'll just keep this lap time counter up. Oh, we've had David going off there. So, did he go into this? He did. He did. So he did pull the trigger. I think it's of no surprise. So undercut territory at the moment, I guess. So we clear up the field. Let's have a look at the fight further around the track before trying to focus in on the pit stop shuffle. We've got Tommy also pitting. P8 at the moment, where he started. So this is the fight. So we'll keep an eye on this here, whilst also bringing up, if we can, David on the track map, if at all possible. I know he's listed as a 007 car, which is honestly a great number to have. So there he is on the track map. We're going to keep this up. And if you use the track map command like James did there, I think you should have the track map coming up for just David that we're following on the track map, whilst we've got Rich Warmingham and Sam Patrick on view. So this is to see whether David's undercut can break the slipstream gap that he had to these cars, or if these guys manage to do the almightiest of in-laps and give it the best go that they can. So Rich Warmingham at the moment, the Note 17 car. Right there, the number 2. And then if I can do it justice with the dual cams. And get rid of the battle box, which is going to be very annoying. There we go. So they've decided to stay out. overlay's just acting up a little bit. So we'll just give it a little refresh. Nope. That'll be the standings. Apologies, just a few technical issues, but we've not missed too many fights elsewhere on track. We've had Adam Wilson at the moment pitting, but that is about it really. So we do a little live editing. David banked his entire race on being able to do some good pace here. He is in the middle of a gaggle of cars at the moment, but he's not had to have too much fighting. He's not listed as having done any overtakes. And the only positions or overtakes that involved him were indeed the positions that he lost having pitted. So it's all to play for here. Again, that number in mind, 11 lap stints, is the furthest anyone's done at all in this race. So this is the in-lap for Rich Warmingham at the top of your screen. And Sam Patrick just following a bit behind, and Tommy Vettel, who is doing his best to stay off camera, trying to scarper off the distance of shot. So what will be the outcome of this fight? 10 minutes to go. Rich coming in. If I was a betting man, I would say that he is. But yeah, unless he managed to save another lap of fuel, which I think as the lead car of the train that he was in for so long, I do not think that's the case. So, Rich, prove me wrong if you can, but there he goes. Tommy Vettel also in. Not surprised. We're going to see pretty much everyone in Pro pitting. So keep an eye out if anybody's missing their marks. A pit entry that wasn't pushed too hard. A pit exit that wasn't pushed too hard. A pit lane average speed that was not pushed to the limit. So there goes David. Heading on to the start finish. Oh, we've got Patrick. Gone on ahead. So he's well clear of David. Rich has gone well clear of David. So what's happened here? Wow. Wow. That was surprising. We went from like these guys being covered by a sheet to not that. Insane work. So at the end of all that, we've had a complete change of the podium. We saw Sam Patrick going up ahead with a fantastic pit stop sequence. And David just losing out, having decided that on the undercut. So he decided to pit 2 laps earlier. So I'm not quite sure whether these guys went for tyres. I was just so focused at looking at gaps that I don't know if there's some kind of offset. But what I can bring up is, again, what was very helpful the last time, the pit lane times. So David had a much longer time. So is this the shortest sequence that he had at the start to try and gain track position in that second stint? Coming back to undo his hard work. So he tried something, was at the front of the pack, but alas, Sam managed to make the most of that sequence. Sounds like Derek is David's target. Yep. Yep. And, well, he is clear of him, so target achieved, I guess. But that was a very, very fun fight to follow there. Maybe for the next broadcast, I should just have like a silent or a kind of like fly on the wall for every single person to know what strategy they're doing ahead of time. But alas, Sam has managed to make very good gains. 2 positions up from where he started, and then now within a second of Tommy. bunch of smoke on the shot there. Got Robert Van Horn going off. But I think he's still managing to be in the race, so that's good to see. And having talked about him, but not really shown him too much, Tommy Vettel. Pretty much light to flag with 6 minutes to go, leading this race here at Spa-Francorchamps. So let's see if we can actually bring up the standings just to give context to where these guys are. Henrik Riese, who unfortunately I don't think he is in this race. David, second behind him by about 9 points. Adam Wilson-Ware, who's currently 6th in Pro in the race at the moment. Tommy Kaliokujala, 7th. Rich Warmingham, very impressive 3rd place at the moment, currently 5th overall. Karsten Hafdal, who we saw earlier giving the prime leader rather, a little bit of a hassle there, as we see the pro leader just through the see-through background there, going way off. Don't think that's a slowdown. Aaron Broderick, James Braid, Steve DeRose, Derek Lynch, Alan Luth, Mark Custis. And then going down the field, I don't believe that Tommy has raced in the earlier races, hence his name missing from the standings. But yeah, very, very good fighting here. And I thought an hour would be enough to show kind of all the standings and such, but just shy of 5 minutes to go. So not too much for people to make things work and make things shake. As we bring up the group standings again. Had a few off track. Steve Ewing. Oh, we've had a crash from Steve DeRose. Oh, and who's that? That's Simon Andre Livingston as well. Doing well to get out of the way and then having to wait patiently. That's so painful. He gained a lot of positions from where he started. So let's see what happened to them. Steve DeRose coming out of... Ooh. So he's decided to slightly spin. And then Seaman coming in hot. Thankfully didn't follow the same trajectory that Steve did. Oh! It probably gave... Who was that? Was that... I think that might have been Utvik. I think that might have been Anders Utvik getting a little bit of a scare. Let's see if we can bring up a nice little shot before wanting to cut to... So we've got Utvik giving chase. So he's coming out the corner. So now Seaman has spun. He sees the smoke. And then he manages to decide quite well there. I might have had a little target fixation myself if I was driving. So good thing I'm here in the booth. Right. 2 minutes 40 to go. We've got a black flag for Themo, who I'm going to assume is for probably track limits. So let's have a look at Tommy. This is as close of a gap as we've had all race, pretty much since the start of the race. He's giving it a good go. And just bringing up the deets as we come up to the end of this round. We've now almost completed round 3 of the Sampsoid Championship. One of 2 60-minute races. And yeah, a race every week as Tommy's been given the white flag to finish off what has been an exhilarating race here. Before we head off to Mosport next week, which unfortunately I will be karting hundreds of miles away, so I won't be available to host this broadcast, but I should hopefully be back for the Bathurst round, round 5. So that will surely be a very impressive round for people to race. If you are at all interested in joining 11 lovely rounds in a great community with a broadcast where possible. So please, if you're at all interested in joining, there is a sign-up link for people to give it a good look. And a Discord as well to join, get in on the action. All things Sampsoid, all things iRacing, sim racing, a little bit of F1 as well, with Silverstone today. And yeah, it is definitely a very, very good championship, and I'm glad to be on board to race to host this broadcast. It's part of SimSpec, which is a brand new org style now. And yeah, I've tried to give the action its due course here. Tommy getting up to some traffic at the moment. I don't think it should be an issue for him. But we've pretty much had a fantastic fight all over. Oh, yeah, and that's the blue flagged car. I believe that's Tony Hasia deciding I don't want to mess with the leader here. So we've got Hans Loimakowski. 8 seconds clear in Pro-Am. Danny Gold, not featured him too much, I think, other than a few moves. So we've got Tommy Vettel coming up to what is the checkered flag being waved for him as he takes his maiden win ahead of Sam Patrick. Fantastic racing, fantastic racing. Rich Warmingham coming back through. David further back. Derek Lynch starting the finish where he started. Adam Wilson likewise with that very distinctive Porsche flashing pattern. Got Tommy, Mark. Oh, hi Mark. Hans coming through, back of shot and at the bottom of your screen. Taking the win for Pro-Am. And then Danny Gold just behind, taking it for the Am. So fantastic, fantastic work. Really, really good racing. And I think these guys will be very pleased with the effort that these guys have put in. As we just try and catch the guys coming through to the finish line if possible. Who's that coming through? Jamie Logue rounding out the podium in Am. Christopher Newby, 13 positions up. Really impressive performance there. And then the back of shot, we had Nathan Yari, Pro-Am 4th, Morton Dale 6th, Steve Ewing, good fight earlier on, coming up to the line, nice and slowly, ahead of Martin McCoden, Curtis Krubel. Oh, we've had a bunch of black flags there at the end as well, so I don't know if the standings are a little bit different from what I'm seeing on my view. Ken Buchan, another raw SimSport car. I'm going to assume it's been raw this whole time. And Timo van Ravenswij, Raven Creek Racing, coming through to round out the last of the cars on track for GT3 Championship here at Sampsoid, round 3. So, let's try and bring up the results, if I can. If they decide to show, there we go. So, just going to be doing overall here. Tommy Vettel taking the overall win. I'm pretty sure that was a Grand Chelem. From start to finish, fastest lap, 17 flat. I don't think... oh, wait, no. Sam Patrick decided to take that from him. Very unfortunate. But yeah, I think Tommy will be more than happy with the win. Sam Patrick, Rich Warmingham rounding out the podium. David, 4th, having lost 2 positions there. Had to do a lot of work. Tried it a lot in the pit stop shuffles. Wasn't able to make it do. Derek Lynch Adam Wilson-Ware, Tommy Kallio Kujala, Mark Custers up 5 positions, Henry Perala up 8, Carsten Havdal rounding out the pro top 10. Then we have your winner in prime, Hans-Loy Makowski for X-Race of Violet, Danny Gold having won here at Spa. Anders Utvik kind of yo-yoing back and forth from Hans throughout the race, but second in Pro-Am. Steve DeRose, who is 11th in Pro. John Wigo, Pro-Am podium finisher. Alexander Wingmark, second in Am. Seaman Andre Livingston, so had that split, a very unfortunate split at the end. Jamie Logue, and then if we try and go and skip the page, that was the end. Christopher Newby, Nathan Harris, Yari Luomujaki, Walter Dill, Martin McConan, Curtis Krubel, Ken Bucken, Thibaut van Ravenswijk, if I got that correct. And then we have Steve Ewing and Tony Hasia finishing first man a lap down. And then unfortunately we had a few of the DNFs, so Anthony Young, Rob Van Horn, James Braid, Rick Biddersley, Ricky Burrows, Mick Bachman, Peter Black, Julian Mink, Aaron Broderick, and Neil Wilson. Well, that was a very interesting race. So, I've been your host, Attore, also known as Khaled Ramadan, if you see me on track or in the server. This was a very experimental stream, trying a few things, a few of the dual cams, standings and such here, powered by SDK. If you've had any use of the commands, the timing pages, the signups and such, let me know. I definitely want to try bigger and better things as the season goes on. And what a season it's shaping up to be. I think we've got pretty much all to play for at the moment. As I bring up the remaining rounds in the championship, we've got Canadian Time Motorsports Park, as mentioned earlier. Next week, back down to the 45-minute race. So I think that is expected to be a one-stopper. And then Bathurst, hopefully I should be back with a broadcast then. And yeah, even if the broadcast isn't here, the racing is. I'm your host, Attore, Khaled Ramadan. Yeah, this has been a fantastic round of the GT3 Championship here on Sampsoid. So, GG's everyone, and hope to see you guys in Discord. Bye-bye.